So, a teacher from Oxford who teaches people from between the ages of like 11 and 18 is in some hot water with his school division because he referred to a group of girls and he said, well done, girls. And one of those people happened to identify as a boy. So now he's facing disciplinary actions from the school because of it. And this guy, like in the article, he states that he, took great precaution, even though it was against his faith, because this guy's also a pastor, right? And he's like, even though he disagrees with it and he thinks gender is defined at birth, he made sure to only use gender neutral pronouns, only referred to their names, right? And just this one little slip of the tongue gets him in shit, right? And it's like he wasn't intending to be transphobic and all this shit, but the way kids are raised today, it's like they're exactly like 1984, right? They're just there to rat on the old people to the authorities and get them in trouble, right? Like this, maybe that kid didn't like the teacher, maybe he was strict on her and or him, whatever. Don't put me in jail, and wanted to get him back. And now that the laws in a lot of Western countries, like it is in Canada too with Bill C-16, it makes it a lot easier for these people to get in trouble for stupid shit like this. Like this guy didn't intend, he wasn't doing it like to be a dick, right? He wasn't, pointing her out. He just referred to the whole group of girls, right? And then he's getting in trouble for this. This is nonsense. This is why people are against Bill C-16 in Canada and for these ridiculous laws. Like it should not be a right for you to identify as a certain gender and like force people to always go out of the way to identify you as the gender you want, right? If I want to call you a dude because you look like a dude, then I should have that right to do that. And if it happens on Twitter and stuff like that, instead of trying to get them to censor everybody, just block people, right? And get these people out of your life who say things you don't like. That's what most people do. Instead of trying to create laws to get people in trouble. Like this guy, this is within like a religious school, first of all, and this guy is a pastor, right? He's a Christian pastor, like he's teaching people about religion. This is completely against his faith. He's taking every step he can not to offend people, and you're still gonna go after him. Like clearly, like I'm not even religious, I'm an atheist, but it does appear to me like there is an attack to some degree on Christianity, at the least. Definitely not Islam. All you ever hear from the UK and the UK government in schools is praise of Islam. Like they're even teaching a kid the other day how to like convert to Islam, and then some stepdad had a real issue with it. It was a story in the news. I could leave a link in the description below. But they're willing to push this on students, but it's if a fucking Christian white dude says, good job, girls, they're gonna fucking reprimand his ass and shit. And this is ridiculous. They're doing this with like taxpayer funded money. They're wasting your time, in these public schools. And like we don't need to criminalize this type of behavior, right? And they're talking in the article about how it has increased, and they don't have an explanation as to why it has increased so much. They're like, wow, there's way more than we thought. And it's because they're admitting people that are like 3 years old from parents that are like, oh yeah, my kid's a tranny. He's 3. He's 5. He identifies as a girl. It's like, yeah, you're giving parents who are delusional, you're giving them like complete say over the kid's sexuality. And it's like, hey, he said he wanted to be a girl one day, so now we're gonna dress him up like a girl. And it's like, maybe that was a slip of the tongue for the kid, or just saying nonsense. And now you're gonna totally fuck up the kid in the future when they grow up. Like, this is, I'm not saying some people don't identify as the other sex or whatever, but if you really just go with little kids' delusions and then play into it when they aren't actually like somebody who really feels like they're in another sex, by the time they get old enough to figure that shit out, they're going to be really messed up. So, like, we need to stop criminalizing these little things, like just a guy having his own slip of the tongue saying, well done, girls. Like, clearly that wasn't malicious. And to reprimand this guy is just fucking crazy, right? He doesn't deserve to be reprimanded. Like, this guy he sounded like a pretty nice guy. And, this is just what these laws do. They put good people in fucking, they get good people in trouble for absolutely nothing. And in my opinion, this is just going to raise the animosity, the hate that people have towards transgender people. Like, they probably didn't really care that much before. But now, if you're going to be reprimanded for having a slip of the tongue here and there because you say like simple shit like good job, girls, and now you're going to have a chance of losing your job, then people are going to naturally try to avoid interacting with transgender people at all to begin with. That's all that's going to happen. And then they're going to dislike you even more because they're going to feel like you're abusing your authority over them, which a lot of people will do. If you expect all transgender people to be like just angels and not abuse laws that they can seek that they can be used in their favor, you're dumb. This is how people react. They react to incentives. So if you set up incentives like this, people are going to abuse these incentives and going to get good people in trouble for nothing, right? This guy could have been teaching the kids. Instead, you got him, going through all these fucking things, right? It makes no sense to me. So hopefully the pendulum swings back because the Western world has moved far too much to the left. Yes, it's good we accept gay people and stuff like that, but there is a slippery slope. The conservatives that were saying that were being called crazy in the past, they were kind of right? We are moving to like almost accepting pedophilia to some extent when you're reading articles from Salon, from Slate, from all these people. They're like, oh no, we shouldn't demonize them. So there is a slippery slope, and we can't really cater. We can't stop catering to such a small percentage of fucking people, right? It makes no sense. And we should not make laws to discriminate people, to put people in jail because they made you feel bad or whatever. Like, the UK already has enough problems with free speech. They don't need to add more things. Same with Canada and, obviously America, but they don't really have that same problem that we do, luckily, unless you're living like California or something, or a really blue state. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.